a second ago that I was live, but I wasn't ready yet. So I had to shut the computer off just so I could start all over again. But tonight I want to share with you guys how to set yourself apart as a licensed life and health insurance agent. And I was thinking about this as let me go over to my Zoom right quick, make sure I can see my screen. Hold on. But I was thinking about this today as we were on our way back from Princeville, North Carolina, and I got a chance to talk to one of our newest brokers that's coming on board. I just want to make sure you can see me well on live. Yep, it says I'm live. Let me make sure you can hear me. Hold on 1 second. Over to my Zoom right quick. Make sure. Okay, perfect. So I'll be able to check the chat also on my phone. So in case y'all have any questions. So who am I? I'm Garlinda Price. I am a licensed life and health insurance broker right here in the best state in the entire US, North Carolina. And we are recruiting agents across the country. I am an insurance marketing organization. What that means is my company, Fusion Insurance Group, which goes under doing business as Fusion Properties LLC, is licensed with 10 to 15 carriers. We have direct contracts, all the big boys that you could ever want to write with. And so, but today I wanted to share with you, how can you set yourself apart in a crowded marketplace as a licensed life insurance agent and as a broker, right? So what made me think about it was this beautiful young lady called me, and she was actually a client that was referred to me by one of our current agents. And so if she sees this video, shout out to her. And so as we were talking about her product, I had to get our corporation licensed in the state that she was in so that we could get her product submitted. So I gave her updates every step of the way as where we were in the process, how long it was going to take, where was she with the application, what was it going to look like? And so just staying in touch with her. And so randomly one night, late out the blue, she said, "Hey, I'm interested in," let me make sure you can hear my volume well. Awesome. Okay, she said, "I'm in Let me check now. Okay, so I may have just been talking and you couldn't hear a thing I was saying because it looked like I had not connected my audio, but let me check right quick, okay? Caleb, do me a favor, get on YouTube and see if you can hear me well. Let me check now. Oh, now I can hear it, okay. So you might not have been able to hear me, but let me just tell you what I was sharing, what I was saying, okay? So if you come into the life and health insurance space, I still want you to check for me though, okay? Caleb, I still want you to check for me, okay? Okay. So if you come into the life and health insurance space and you're trying to figure out your way, you're trying to figure out what's going on, like why can't you gain your footing? Why can't you gain ground? Why can't you achieve the success everyone, huh? Thank you, that everyone else has based on what everyone is saying that you can do, based on what you've seen on the internet, what on Instagram, on TikTok, on social media, on Facebook, and everyone is saying that they're successful. You see them out here with their red bottoms and their Gucci suits, and you see them with their Louis Vuitton bags and their Ferraris, and you believe that that might be their lifestyle, right? You can rent all that stuff. I'm not saying that it's not true, nor am I dogging it out, nor am I putting it down, but all that glitters isn't gold. And so think about it. You're doing the exact same thing that you're doing. I remember being on this team, and my team and I were doing the exact same thing that everybody else was doing, and the results were not the same. And I'm like, okay, we're putting in the dials, 100 to 300 dials. We're buying the leads. We're spending $1,600 to $2,000 a week, right? We're putting in the time. We're on the phone 3 hours at a time, taking a break, back on the phone another hour, another 2 hours. We're talking to the people. We're holding the appointments. We're smiling and dialing, but we're not having the same success that those people are having. I'm like, something ain't right. Something ain't clean in the milk. And so come to find out, it wasn't a level playing field, right? So a lot of times when you come into the insurance industry and you come into this business, you don't realize when you're joining these companies and partnering with these teams and these people that you're not on a level playing field, right? So that's why I started my own insurance company. And this isn't a recruiting video. This is to tell you, how do you go set yourself apart from everyone else? Yes, we're recruiting. Yes, we're hiring. I'll tell you from upfront, we start everyone out at 75%, right? So if you're the person that's chasing the 100% comp and the 120% and 130%, we're not the company for you. Why? Because we take time to coach and train our agents. We spend time with our agents. We handhold our agents. And because of that, we start them out at a lower commission, lower comp, because we spend time with them, right? You're paying for the time. They're still going to make great money, right? But if you're out there chasing a high comp, I used to do it. Right when I first got in the, not my first company because I didn't know any better. So I started out at 70% and I was happy about it and I was making money. I didn't care. And I went from 70 to 80 to 90 to 100 to 120. It didn't matter to me. I was going to do the work. But if you're that person chasing a high comp, I'm not having that conversation with you because I'm not a good fit for you, because we start everybody at 75%. And then you can earn and grow from there based on production. You can grow a team and get an override based on production, right? But if you chase a high comp, know this, depending on where you go, you're just going to be another number. That's number one. Then I have the experience to tell you that. Number two, they're going to keep your renewals, right? So and you can't read your contract beforehand with the carrier that they've arranged, right? Because being an insurance company, an insurance marketing organization, when I contracted direct to all of our carriers, they asked me, how did I want to set up the renewals? I was like, we get to pick the renewals. They said, yeah, you can pay no renewals, you can pay half renewals, or you can pay all renewals, right? Who knew? So now that's how I found out when I was with these other companies why I wasn't getting my annual renewals was because of the way they had the contract set up on the backside that you don't see. So yes, you might get 110%, 120%. You might get all the way up to 150%, but you're not going to get any more money after that. So you got to know what you're signing up for when you partner with these companies and you think that it's great. And then you're looking for them on the wanted board at Walmart. You can't find anybody to help you, right? How do you set yourself apart? That's what we're talking about tonight. And so that's what we teach here at Fusion, right? So at Fusion, what I show the agents is this is how you can go and set yourself apart and have a successful business. It's not a secret, right? You see everybody online and they're all dressed up and they're telling you what they're going to do, and how if you come to with their secret sauce and their secret leads and their secret way, you're going to have secret success and everyone's going to know it. And then you get there and you're like, what the crap? Right? Why? Because you're the secret sauce. This is what I want to tell you first. How do you set yourself apart from everybody else in the life and health insurance industry is to do you. Do you. My husband told me a long time ago, and I honor him for this. So shout out to my honey bunny, Pastor Marvin Price Jr., AKA, and lovingly call him Lammy. But everywhere we go, people are like, hey, Lammy, hey, Lamb Chop. Right? He said, Garlinda, he said, you're the sauce. You're the brand. You're the girl. You're the one. Right? It took me years to learn it. It took me years to accept it, because I thought, man, that's a little haughty and prideful if I walk around being like, I'm the one, right? And you don't have to do that or be that way, but you got to have that confidence. You got to have that swag. So I thank God that he loved me enough to tell me, Garlinda, it's not them, it's you. People buy you, people buy Garlinda, people buy Sheila, people buy Monica, people buy Caleb, people buy Ebony, people buy you. Insert your name there, right? So the first thing you have to do to set yourself apart from everybody else is believe in yourself. That's number one. That may sound kitschy and cliche, but it's the truth. The second thing you need to know is you didn't come to life and health and to the industry not knowing anything. See, what happens when you get over here, people don't know you, right? That's T.I. had that song, you don't know me, right? People don't know you. So they don't know your background of success. They don't know that you in your industry, in the field you come from, that you are a boss. They don't know that in the ministry you come from, you walk with God, you talk with God, right? That you have that Christian swag, right? They don't know anything about you. So what they see when you get there and how they treat you is like a kindergarten. And all of a sudden it becomes this hierarchical thing it's so frustrating. In the life and health insurance industry is so hierarchical, right? There's a hierarchy. I'm over here, I'm above you. This is my upline. This is my downline. I don't care about a line. All I care about is having success, teaching my agents how to have success, and being and serving our clients and getting paid for me and my family. I don't care about none of that other stuff. Our company is not set up like a hierarchy, right? So know that you are the gift. You're the one that has the anointing. How do I know? Because you bring your flavor, you bring your great success that you already had way back here from every job and every opportunity that you've ever had. Right. So just know number two is the mindset around believing who you are. So not that you can't be taught, not that you can't be coached, not that you can't learn, but what you have to know is when you get there and you step on the scene, you're coming to learn life and health. You're not coming because you don't know what you're doing. Right. So don't act like you don't know what you're doing. Does that make sense? I want to say it a different way. Oftentimes when we come into the business, we dumb ourselves down or we let people dumb us down. So how can you set yourself apart? Don't dumb down. Don't let people dumb you down. If you have sales skills and sales ability, wield it. Right? You don't have to be out loud with it, but wield it. If you have customer service, sell ability, and skill ability, wield it. Right? If you have managerial ability, wield it. If you come here and you're like, I'm fresh out of college, so what? You have an advanced degree, an advanced education that a lot of people in the industry don't have, which means you are smart, wield it. Glory to God. And so I don't know why I'm saying glory to God like I'm preaching, but just know that you are the one. Teams cannot run without you. Teams cannot run without people, right? So you don't have to dumb down to fit in. That's the third thing I'll tell you. How do you want to set yourself apart as a licensed life and health insurance agent? Is sell according to how you are and who you are. What happens is it's very transactional in this business, and everything's like this. They're like, go, 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 sell, sell, sell. You're not selling, you suck. You suck. You haven't produced this much this week, you suck. You haven't sold this much this month, you suck, right? No, what sucks is the fact that you're not teaching people how to grow a scalable and sustainable business based on their personality and who and how they are. And so therefore they can tap into the rich resources that they have internally and set themselves apart. Because you want them to get on the phone and dial and smile like everybody else when maybe they have a fear of the phone. If you're someone that's not great on the phone, then maybe you need, no, I won't say maybe, you got to practice it. It takes practice. The first 1 to 2 years in your business, you are going to have to practice. You will have to get outside your comfort zone. If you're someone that says, I'm not going door knocking because Garlinda Michelle Price is not going door knocking, I can tell you that right now. But I will go to a vendor event. I will go to every vendor there. I'll talk to them. I'll introduce myself. The last vendor event we set up at, it was a circus theme, but we had so much fun. We played games. We gave out freebies. We got names and numbers. We've called the clients. And guess what? You might not make a sale until the 12th or 13th follow-up, but they don't tell you that when they're out there with their red bottoms and their Gucci suits on and there's pinstripe goodness and they're out here telling you that you suck because you're not working hard enough. No, you just haven't talked to enough people enough times to get the sale. Set yourself apart. How? Do business the way that you do business. I'm not saying stay in your comfort zone. I'm saying that if you're someone that loves to speak in front of people, right? Most people don't. But if you're that anomaly that says, I love to talk, I love to be in front of people, host events. If you say, you know what, Garlinda, no, I hosted events, no one showed up, get online, host a Zoom. Do a wind down Friday with your girl, with a girl group or a guy group. Set up a bingo night with some older people that you know in your neighborhood. You can come up with all these different ideas if you're a personable person that likes to be in front of people, but you got to set yourself apart from what everybody else is doing. Okay, second thing about the fifth thing, I'm lost count, right? Let's say that you're that person that is introverted. You're like, I do not like talking in front of people. I don't want to be in front of people. I want to be behind the scenes. Maybe you need to hire an appointment setter. Maybe you're that person that says, you know what? I have a really good girlfriend or my children or my spouse, and they are great on the phone. Let me put them in a position that I'll pay them every time. If I make a sale, I'll pay them a little bit from the sale and let them be your appointment setter. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Right? Not a literal cat. I mean, on Zoom cat, right? Because I don't want y'all calling PETA on me, right? Hire an appointment setter. If you're someone that says, I want to build a team, but I'm not able to reach and connect with people, hire a recruiter. Well, how do you do that if you don't have the money? Tell them that, listen, for every person that you help me bring onto my team, every time they make a sale, I'll pay you X, Y, and Z. Every time you set an appointment for me, if that person buys, I'll pay you X, Y, Z. Right? Begin to create a referral-based business. One thing that they told me when I first came into insurance would not work is if you send out thank you cards and birthday cards. And if you stay in touch with people, they said that's too soft. That takes too long. No, that's how you build and establish a relationship. That's how you build and grow a book of business. That's how you build and grow a business that will stick and stay. See, people that don't have business acumen, they say stuff like that. I've been in business 36 years, so I know what it takes to build a relationship. It took me 3 years to build my real estate business through the grace of God to almost 95% referral based. Even now, I don't pay for leads. Whenever somebody wants to buy a house, or buy a home, or sell a home, someone says, call Garlinda, right? So another way that you can set yourself apart from everybody else is set up your Yelp page, right? Set up your Google business page if you have a physical location, but set up your Nextdoor page, right? So that you're in the area where people are looking and they will call you. One of our agents, now she's outgoing, but she has a TikTok page and she's on Instagram, and literally all her leads come from her simple TikTok message, her simple Instagram. I don't say simple, they're funny and they're excellent, right? But that fits her. She is a round circle in a circle, right? She's not out here doing anything that doesn't fit her personality. What is your personality? Plug it into Chat GPT, right? Let it tell you who you are and how you should build your business. So what does that look like? I go to Chat GPT and I say, Chat GPT, build me a business plan or a marketing plan based on my personality. I love to talk. I'm an introvert extrovert, which means I'm an ambivert. Right? I don't mind being on camera. I don't mind being on Zoom. I love to educate and teach. Give me a business plan, something that I can do to grow my life and health insurance business. It's going to give you a business plan. And then it's going to give you prompts and say, hey, do you want a little bit more? Right? So what can you do to set yourself apart from everybody else? Educate. Stop the transactional selling, right? It doesn't work in the life and health insurance industry. I won't say that. Everything works if you work it. It will work. But when you're transactional, you got to keep with the transactions. You can't ever stop, right? You got to constantly be selling, selling, selling. And then half the time, depending on what company you're working with, you got to stay ahead of those chargebacks, right? Nobody talks to you about that, but you got to stay ahead of chargebacks. But when you're building a business based on who you are, based on relationship, based on education, based on advocating, when you build a business that way, then you're going to build a consistent business. You're going to build a profitable business. It just may take you longer than everybody else, but are you in a race? Right? So that's what happens when you get on these teams and you go to these different companies and everything is a race for the end of time. And it's like, well, dang, can I at least learn the product? Can I figure out what I'm doing? And they'll tell you can figure that out as you go along. You know, it doesn't take all that. Ask somebody in the $1 million round table if they're just flying by the seat of their pants. Ask them, reach out to them online, right? Ask somebody in the $1 million round table, are they flying by the seat of their pants? These are people that do $1 million in net in production annually. They are award-winning professionals. I doubt that they are dialing and smiling 300 calls a day trying to sell somebody a final expense plan or a plan that they themselves know nothing about and probably don't even own. How do you set yourself apart? Own the product that you're selling. We have a couple of insurance policies, right? Own the products that you're selling. Know what you're talking about. Take time to study, but what you can do is master something, right? So one thing that you can do is, you know, IULs and Index Universal Life policies are an important and incredible product if you understand them and they're structured properly, but you got to know what you're talking about. Well, how do you know what you're talking about? One of the carriers that we write with, everybody on my team has access to. Our wholesale rep at that company will run our illustration for us. She will then call us and say, hey, let's share a screen. And she will walk us through and educate us on the Index Universal Life breakdown for our clients. So we get on with our client and we sit down to meet with our client. We are confident that we know what we're talking about. They're not those people that when you call some of these carriers, I've called in the past, and they're rushing you through, and you still, by the time you get off the phone, have no clue what they're talking about. It's like a foreign language, and now you're going to go try to present it to somebody. You're not even going to know what you're talking about. I felt that way, right? But now when I walk my clients through an Index Universal Life and successfully submit a policy, right? And then I know that it's going to be approved for the most part because the wholesaler has said, let's run it this way. And this is what you need to explain to them. And this is how we can make it different. And this is how it compares to a final expense with this company, or a whole life policy with that company, or a term policy with this company. She's there to support our business. Right? So the way that you're going to set yourself apart is to educate yourself. And then you may be like, well, this is how I felt my first 2 years. Like, I didn't have time to educate myself because there was such a push for sales. And you do need sales. Sales rank right up there with air and oxygen, right? But you got to know what you're talking about so that you can sell. What's the word of God say? Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Knowledge is power, right? And it says wisdom. By wisdom, a foundation is built. With knowledge, you understand. With knowledge, you can build. With understanding, your home is filled with rare and beautiful treasures. So you got to know what you're talking about so that it establishes a firm foundation. That's knowledge, right? So how can you set yourself apart? Pick the focus of what you want to specialize in as an agent. Now, I was betwixt, and you've heard me say it on multiple videos. If you've ever been with me, I was a broker. Then I was all in at Senior Life as just a captive agent. And now we're a brokerage again. I will never go back to being a captive agent. You can't say never, but I pray to God before he cracks the sky, I will not ever be a captive agent again. It's too pigeonholish, right? And then you only have access to this one little bucket of products. And so the other thing that you can do to set yourself apart from everybody else is don't listen to everybody else, right? Find out for yourself, because if you only listen to people that are online that are gurus and that you see all the time on some of these stages, and some of these people that you see speaking at these different events, they've paid to be at those, they've paid to speak at those events. Right? You're thinking that they got put. I was thinking, I can't say what you were thinking. I was thinking they were up there positioned because of their sales acumen and their sales success, but they paid to be on the stage, which is marketing and content. Nothing wrong with that. But now I'm wondering, well, what did you really have success or did you just pay to be on the stage? Who knows, right? So stop listening to everyone else. Listen to the inner voice of the Holy Spirit that says, go this way. So that's the other thing you need to do is take time to find out what do you love about the industry. I personally love final expense. I like working with seniors, right? I also love IULs, Index Universal Life products, now that I understand them. So now I can work with people who have children that have aged out of their children's policies, like with the Gerbers of the world or the Mutual of Omahas of the world, or have just had grandbabies and grandkids. And I can be the person to help them put their wealth building plan in place for their college graduate, for their grandchild, for their children, right? To take them from a policy that was really going to underperform, right, to a policy that's going to outperform what they ever even knew about. And I get to educate them on that, right? So think about how you like to do business and set yourself apart doing business the way you like to do it. If you're a one-on-one person, meet with people one-on-one, right? Master products that you don't so much have to worry about chargebacks. What are some of those products? It could be dental and vision, which is a lower commission. I'm just naming some things that are less chargebackable, right? Dental and vision. Medicare has a lower chargeback than final expense. ACA has a lower chargeback than final expense. IULs have a lower chargeback than final expense. Annuities will set you in a whole nother ballpark. Master annuities, right? I said I would never do annuities. Now I'm like, where's that annuities trainer? Right? Because annuities set you like that's where people go that are building wealth, right? And it doesn't have, you don't have to start with an affluent client. You could start with someone that has a decent income, that has a little bit of money left over, that is losing money in their savings account, they're losing money in their checking account, they're losing money in their 401k plan, and you can introduce them to something that will make their money work for them. And you don't have to talk anybody in anything. If you say, well, can I show you how this policy or this product may do better, maybe a better way for you to increase and grow your money, and you're still going to be investing the same amount, right? Who's going to say no to that? Nobody, right? So think about setting yourself apart product wise. Think about setting yourself apart behaviorally, right? Because when you partner with these companies, what's the first thing that they do? Get on the phone, follow the script, buy the leads. Everybody's doing that. That doesn't set you apart. But what will set you apart is if you just sit for a second and say, okay, Lord, where's my blue ocean? Where's my blue ocean? That's it. And not that there's nobody else in that ocean, but that ocean is so expansive and it's so different from what the majority of people are doing, that when you get into the blue ocean and the open ocean, you're competing with fewer people in your area. Right. So when you also look for people that look like you, no matter if you're Black, white, Asian, or Hispanic, right, you'll have confidence because guess what? You speak the same language. I don't want to say you think the same way, but you understand similarly. Okay. So think about who is the person that you want to serve? Who's the client that you want to serve? Is it a certain culture? Is it a certain age? Is it a certain demographic? Is it a certain state? Right. So then they'll tell you, go get all these states. I have 15 states, which means I have 30 licenses. Right. Because if you own a corporation, you have to be licensed personally, and you got to write your business in your personal name, but you got to get paid in your corporate name. So I got to carry 30 licenses. Nobody tells you that. You don't need all these states. You don't need all these carriers. Think about 3 to 4, maybe 5 carriers that you love, that you can have for guaranteed issue, that you can have for your children's policies, that you can have for your IUL, that you can have for your annuity, and that you love for your term and your regular whole life. That's it. You don't need all these 800,000 contracts, because what it's going to do is going to cause confusion. You're going to shut down, right? So how do you set yourself apart? And you also, and I'll end on this, if you say, well, you know what, I want to win the trips people talk about, I want to earn the bonuses that people talk about, then you got to write with about 2 to 3 people. Because if you write with 5 to 10 people, one, you're spreading yourself thin for chargebacks. Number two, you're spreading yourself too thin to where you don't have knowledge and a expert level understanding of all of the products at 1 to 2 to 3 carriers because you're all over the place, right? But if you want to set yourself apart and you want to earn a bonus and you want to earn the trips, narrow it down to 2 to 3 carriers that you can focus on and really master their plan and ask them, who's your client? Right. So as an insurance marketing organization, when I was partnering with the carriers and they were interviewing me to see why they should give our company a direct contract, I was interviewing them. I said, who's your client? Like, if I go to sell your product, who am I going to sell your product to? So I remember when John Hancock, their national vice president, reached out to me and was like, well, why should we give you a contract? I said, well, I really love John Hancock. I said, when I wrote with them as an agent, when I first got started, what I loved about their product was that if I had a client, because we're in a military area, if I had a client that used medical marijuana for pain relief, it didn't ask that question on your contract. So therefore, I knew I could service that client. I said, but who is your client? Who are you all reaching out to? Like, what sets you apart? And they said, well, to be honest, we're working to change our image. They said they had been known as the brand that had insurance for people that were old, sick, and rich. I said, what? Right? So that's who their brand was known for, old people that were sick but rich. And so now they're trying to change their brand to target more term products. And so you'll see that a lot of carriers now are focused on term because with mortgage interest rates being so high and home sales being down, they stopped calling their term products mortgage insurance and mortgage protection insurance. And now they're just calling it term, right? Because they're trying to rebrand the term product and rebrand its identity so they can sell more of it. So what sets you apart? And that's what I asked them. What sets your company apart? The company that we write our IULs with, the same with them. I was not based on my length of time of having sold insurance and the size of my organization. It was like they interviewed me multiple times, right? Because we're growing, we're new. And so they were like, why should we give you a direct contract with us? Like, we don't know you, right? And so I said, well, if you give us a chance, we're growing, we're a strong company. I said, we have passion around what it is that we do. This is what our goal is for the end of the year. This is where we see ourselves going. This is what we would like to do. Tell me how we can help you achieve your corporate goals. Who's your client? What are you guys doing? And so they told me that they specialize in IUL. They specialize in disability. They have a really strong dental and vision plan, right? And so they told me who they were and what they were looking for. So that's what you want to do. Set yourself apart. What are your clients looking for? Right? I think when we get so hung up on the script and the scripts that that these companies would give us when we were with them, just follow the script. But nothing about it sometimes felt personable. And I'm real personable. If I call you and you're my client, I'm like, hey, Monica, how are you doing? What you looking for insurance for today? Tell me what you got going on. Do you already have insurance? No. How long you been looking? What's important to you? Why now? Why are you getting it now? Right? I'm just talking to her like she's a friend. And so that's how you're going to set yourself apart because you're going to be yourself, right? You're going to be yourself. Some of you all that will see this video or that watch this video, you have a love and a passion for older people, right? And older people in the US tend to get discarded, but they're smart, they're wise, and you can be a resource to them. So that's the last thing I'll leave you on is if you want to set yourself apart in the life and health insurance industry, you got to educate, but you got to be a resource for people, not just transactional. You cannot focus on the sale because if you serve, you're going to get paid. Service payment is a byproduct of service, right? But be a resource. Find out what's available to people in your area for the people that you serve and see how you can help them. Is that a prescription card? Is that a prescription discount? Is that like senior discounts, elderly discounts, services that you know about, community, like when we set up at vendor events, we meet all these different community resource organizations. And they're always like, if you know somebody needs a food cart, tell them to call me. If you know somebody needs financial aid for their child to come to the community college, call me, right? So you begin while you're out at your vendor events and while you're out and about, begin to create a book so you can become a resource for the clients that you serve. And and they're going to refer and send other people to you. Set yourself apart. You're the anointing. You're the one with the oil. You're the one that the people want to do business with. And you don't have to be like everybody else, down and smiling until your face cracks and you're done and there's no money being made, because you've created your own blue ocean. You've blazed your own trail. You've made your own path. So what if it takes you a little bit longer? Time's going to pass anyway. At least you're taking the time to build something. Because guess what? People quit insurance like I change glasses. If I take these glasses off right now, that's how fast people leave the insurance. I change my hair every 2 or 3 months. That's how fast people leave the insurance industry. Why? It's not because they don't want to be in it. It's not because they don't like it. It's not because they don't want to stay in it. It's because nobody's helping. It's because they're fit into a bag or a box like everybody else, and they're being told to do everything like everybody else. And it doesn't feel good. It's not a warm and fuzzy for who they are. And so when you blaze a trail and you be like, you know what? I don't want to do it that way. You're going to be seen as a troublemaker. Right? I was seen as a troublemaker before I came over here, and the Lord blessed me to create my own insurance marketing organization. I don't care. I'll be a troublemaker because guess what? I'm going to have integrity. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to make me some money. I'm going to build and grow a team that wants to make money with me, but I'm not going to be chasing a dollar. I'm not going to be transactional. I'm going to be relational. So that's how you're going to set yourself apart. So again, I'm Garlinda Price. We are recruiting across the country. We start everyone out at 75%. So if you're looking for the high contract, I'm not your girl, but if you're looking for someone to hold your hand, walk you through how to build your business, show you how to grow a successful business. I've been in business for 36 years successfully. I've owned a real estate company for 16 years. I owned salons before that for 14 years. Before that, I owned a jewelry business. It was my very first business. And I've been in the licensed life and health insurance industry now for 5 years. We're contracted with multiple carriers. But again, I tell my team, focus on 3 to 5 carriers, 3 to start with, master that product, set yourself apart, go make your money, and then build a team if you want to, right? But that's who we are. So you can reach out to me at 910-494-7798. I hope this business has been of value. This video has been of value to you, because guess what? You deserve to be successful. You just got to decide, you know what? Bump all that Instagram nonsense and TikTok nonsense and Facebook nonsense